Hello, everyone. Welcome. We're just going to give a couple of moments here for everyone to get in from the waiting room. So hopefully you can hear the sound coming through and see the screen. Just takes a couple of seconds here for everyone to get let in. I just don't want to start until we've got everybody on board. So it'll just be another moment or two. It's nice to see names popping up. All right. Okay, I think that should take us to most folks, which is great. All right, I think we'll go ahead and get started. Good evening, everyone. It's lovely to see you. You are here, you're Brighhouse families, so it's lovely to have so many Brighhouse Blazers here this evening. Before we begin, I would like to acknowledge that we are gathering virtually on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territories of the Hunkaminam language speaking group. We are grateful to learn together on these lands, and thank you for joining us virtually this evening for a Brighhouse specific open house information session about the City Centre Catchment Review, which is currently underway. You're going to hear from three of us tonight. You can see our faces here on the screen. We have Secretary Treasurer Cindy Wang, myself, Bronwyn Thompson. I'm an assistant superintendent here with the district, and we have Jonathan Ho, who's the director of the Richmond project team, and he'll be walking through the majority of the information tonight, sharing with you two scenarios that we're seeking some feedback from you, families and parents who live in the community. We'd love your feedback. So we're going to walk you through a bit of that information this evening. Here's what the agenda looks like. So I'm going to take a couple of moments here just to show you a few Zoom webinar tips and tricks that will hopefully enable your participation this evening. And then Cindy will take you through a purpose and timeline and how to provide feedback and just review some of the information that's available on our website. And then Jonathan will go through some information about the new school, just for your information, and then the two scenarios that we're looking for feedback on from the public. Just a reminder that this webinar is being recorded this evening, and that all Brighhouse families will receive an email with the link tomorrow so that they're able to watch it again, or if you're not able to stay the whole time, or if you'd like to share it with a neighbor who wasn't able to make it tonight. It will be recorded, and every Brighhouse family will get an email tomorrow with the link. So thank you so much again for being here, and we'll go ahead and get started. So the first thing I'd like to cue your attention to is if you're on a mobile device or if you're on a computer using Zoom this evening, either of those platforms will offer you the opportunity. Our webinar feature allows you to turn on captions. So if you'd like to have some translation of what we're saying this evening, if you go to the show captions and toggle it on, you can choose a caption language. There's a huge list of choices. So, it will not translate the slides that we're showing on screen, but it will translate and provide captions for our voices and what we're sharing with you this evening. So if you find that a good option, I'll just leave this up for another moment or two. You're looking down. Most people, it's down at the bottom. It might be at the top of your screen. You can find a captions button and say show captions, and then choose the caption language. So that's offered for you if you'd like to use that option. As well, we want to give you the opportunity as we're going through, and especially when Jonathan is presenting some of the different maps and scenarios, if you have questions, please feel free to type it in the Q&A. So the Q&A is also on your toolbar, your Zoom toolbar. It's a little question box with a question mark. When you type in there, it'll be visible to the panelists. And so what we'll do is we'll consolidate the questions into themes, and we'll answer those questions live as we're going through the slides tonight. So if you do ask a question in there that's really personal or really specific to your family or your child, we'll make sure not to answer any or present any confidential or identifying information, but we will try to provide answers to the themes of the questions that are coming from the group this evening. And with that, I'll turn it over to Cindy to talk a little bit about the City Centre Catchment Review purpose.
Thank you so much, Bronwyn. Good evening, everyone. As you know, the Richmond School District is very excited to announce that the new City Centre School will be opening at 8671 Alden Crescent in September 2026. As we get ready for the new school, we're reviewing the nearby school catchments to make sure we create a new catchment area for the new school. We also want to balance the enrollment to help with overcapacity at neighboring schools. And we also want to make sure our schools' resources and programs are used responsibly. The district will endeavor to have students attend schools close to where they live. And we want to make sure that we give families clarity on where their children will go to school. Ultimately, our goal is to make this new school a great place for all students and a strong part of our learning community in Richmond. So the key dates for the catchment review process are outlined on the slide. The process has been launched early September. Between September 3rd and October 27th, feedback will be gathered from the public and the community. In November, all public feedback will be reviewed and analyzed, and the decision will be made by the board by the end of November. The district is committed to making sure families and community members have clear information and meaningful ways to share their input. We've created several engagement opportunities to gather feedback and ensure it's reflected in the district's decision-making process and the planning and board decisions. All details and links are available on our website at sc38.bc.ca/city center catchment review. Each of the city center schools will host a school-specific virtual open house to walk you through the details and answer questions. Also, we're offering an online survey available in both English and Chinese, so families can provide feedback conveniently in their preferred language. Finally, we'll hold an in-person open house on September 16th at McNeil Secondary School, where community members are welcome and they can engage directly with district staff. So this is an overview of how the catchment review process will unfold. And I'm going to pause here to see if there are any questions relating to the general process before we dive into the specific details.
Cindy, there's nothing at this time, but folks, we will revisit how to give feedback and provide you these links again at the end. So Jonathan, I think we can turn it over to you and we'll monitor the questions in the chat as you go.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Bronwyn. Before we get into the details of catchment review, I wanted to go through some quick facts and 3D renderings of the new elementary school. So the new school will be located, as Cindy said, at 8671 Audlin Crescent. We're working hard for opening in September 2026. It will have a capacity for 294 students. We'll have 13 classrooms, including 2 kindergarten classrooms, and will be a neighborhood K-7 program. These renderings are developed by Trio Architecture, and this shows an exterior view of the new school with the color scheme that employs the same recent exterior paint colors of our elementary schools. This is the main foyer to the school. These interior renderings show a typical classroom and the proposed library learning commons in a large, open concept space. A typical classroom shows collaborative stations for students, millwork, and the whiteboard against which the teacher can project materials. In the library, you'll see that there are permanent bookshelves between the columns and along the wall and rolling bookcases that are perpendicular to the length of the library. These rolling bookcases can be moved to create different learning environments. All right, now we come to the proposed new city center school catchments. We're going to walk through 2 scenarios. So the scenarios, before we get into the scenarios, what we're showing right now are the existing catchments for the 4 existing city center schools at Brighhouse, Cook, Thompson, and Tommy. 8671 Audlin Crescent is situated in the middle of the existing Thompson catchment, relative to our 4 city center schools. Also shown are the utilization rates for our existing 4 city center schools in the 2025 school year. and the projected utilizations for the 2026 school year without Auckland Crescent's capacity accounted for. As you can see, these existing 4 schools are expected to be over capacity, while Tommy is nearly at capacity in these projections. All right, scenario 1. This scenario for Auckland Crescent catchment is proposed to be west of Garden City, north of Westminster Highway, east of Minaroo Boulevard, along River Road, and south of Canby. Scenario 1 proposes adjustments to the existing catchments of Brighhouse, Cook, and Tomset to create the new school catchment. Ptolemy catchment is not affected in scenario 1. The western portion of the current Tomset catchment between Garden City, Lansdowne Road, Canby, and River Road would be reallocated to the new Auckland Crescent School. The northern portion of the current Cook catchment between Westminster Highway, Lansdowne Road, Minaroo Boulevard, and Garden City would be reallocated to the new school. The northeast portion of the current Brighhouse catchment between Minaroo Boulevard, Number 3 Road, Westminster Highway, and Leslie Road would be reallocated to the new school. Projected 2026 enrollment for the proposed changes to Brighhouse, Cook, and Tomset catchments to the new school is shown in the yellow boxes, with the total projected enrollment at Auckland Crescent at 294 students. This represents the students that live in the portions of Brighhouse, Cook, and Tomset catchments that would be eligible to attend the new City Centre School in 2026. A final adjustment would help balance the catchment between Brighhouse and Cook by reallocating a portion of the current Brighhouse catchment between Granville Avenue, Westminster Highway, Number 3 Road, and the residences between Minaroo Boulevard and Minaroo Park to Cook. With respect to Brighhouse, in scenario 1, there are 2 sections of the existing Brighhouse catchment that would change. The upper portion shown in the dashed blue lines bordered by Minaroo Boulevard, Number 3 Road, Westminster Highway, and Leslie Road would be reallocated to the new school at Auckland Crescent. Scenario 1 projects 80 students in this area would be eligible to attend the new school in 2026. To help balance the change in catchment for Cook to the new school, a portion of the existing Brighhouse catchment shown between Number 3 Road, Minaroo Park, Westminster Highway, and Granville Avenue would be reallocated to Cook. Scenario 1 projects 10 students in this area would be eligible to attend Cook in 2026. Overall, Scenario 1 will result in the projected enrollments of all 5 schools as shown in the green highlighted numbers for 2026. For reference, the operating capacities of each school is provided. Projected enrollment for 2026 will put Auckland Crescent at capacity, Ptolemy at slightly below capacity, with Brighhouse, Cook, and Tomset expected to be over operating capacity. Note that when modular additions and portables are included, Brighhouse, Cook, and Tomset can meet our projected 2026 enrollment needs. This table shows the 2025 school year enrollment at Cook, Brighhouse, Tomset, and Ptolemy. Scenario 1 with Auckland Crescent shows we are projected to be at near capacity for 3 of the 5 city center schools in 2026 and over capacity at 2. Our facilities planning staff have also looked at projected enrollment through 2030. And as you can see, all 5 city center schools will be over capacity if scenario 1 catchments are used. All right, before we move on to scenario 2, are there any questions about scenario 1?
Nothing yet, Jonathan. I'm just monitoring the Q&A, but I'm sure folks will start typing in if things pop up. Perhaps you want to continue on with scenario 2, and then we'll keep revisiting the question box.
All right, sounds good. All right, scenario 2 proposes that the new city center school catchment will be west of Garden City, north of Ackroyd Road, east of Gilbert Road, along River Road, and south of Brown Road. This differs from scenario 1 in that less of the existing Cook catchment is affected, a different section of the existing Brighhouse catchment is proposed, and a southern portion of the existing Ptolemy catchment is reallocated to the new city center school. Scenario 2 proposes adjustments to the existing catchments of Brighhouse, Cook, Tomset, and Ptolemy to create the new school catchment. The western portion of the current Tomset catchment between Garden City, Lansdowne Road, Canby, and River Road will be reallocated to the new Alden Crescent School. This is the same as in scenario 1. A portion of the current Brighhouse catchment area in the northeast between Elmbridge Way / Ackroyd Road, Gilbert Road, Alderbridge Way, and Number 3 Road would be reallocated to the new city center school. The northern portion of the Cook catchment between Ackroyd Road, Lansdowne Road, Garden City, and Number 3 Road would be reallocated to the new Alden Crescent School. A portion of the current Ptolemy catchment between Garden City, River Road, Canby, and a northern border running between Capstan Way and Sweet Avenue would be reallocated to the new school. This accommodates the expected enrollment growth spurred by the new Capstan station on the Canada Line. Projected enrollment for the proposed changes to Brighhouse, Cook, Tomset, and Ptolemy catchments to the new school is shown in the yellow boxes, with the total projected enrollment at Alden Crescent at 292 students. This represents the students that live in the portions of the 4 affected schools that are eligible to attend the new city center school in 2026. A final adjustment is made to balance enrollment between Brighhouse and Cook, reallocating a portion of the current Cook Brighhouse catchment between Granville Avenue, Westminster Highway, Number 3 Road, and Minaroo Boulevard to Cook. With a specific focus on Brighhouse, scenario 2 will reallocate the existing Brighhouse catchment between Elmbridge Way and Ackroyd Road to the south, Gilbert Road to the west, along Alderbridge Way to the north, and Number 3 Road to the east to the new school. Scenario 2 projects 90 students in this area would be eligible to attend the new city center school in 2026. To help balance the change in catchment for Cook to the new school, a portion of the existing Brighhouse catchment shown between Number 3 Road and Minaroo Boulevard and Ackroyd Road and Granville Avenue would be reallocated to Cook. Scenario 2 projects 15 students in this area would be eligible to attend Cook in 2026. Overall, scenario 2 will result in the projected enrollments of all 5 schools as shown in the green highlighted numbers. For reference, the operating capacities of each of the schools are provided. Projected enrollment for 2026 will put Alden Crescent at near capacity, Ptolemy at below capacity to accommodate projected future enrollment growth, while Brighhouse, Cook, and Tomset are expected to be over operating capacity. Note that when modular additions and portables are included, Brighhouse, Cook, and Tomset can meet our projected 2026 needs. This table shows the 2025 school year enrollments at Cook, Brighhouse, Tomset, and Ptolemy as we showed for scenario 1. Scenario 2, with Alden Crescent, shows we are projected to be at near capacity for 2 of the 5 city center schools in 2026 and just over capacity at 3. The facilities planning staff have also looked at projected enrollment through 2030. And as you can see, all 5 city center schools will be over capacity if scenario 2 catchments are used. At this time, are there any questions about scenario 2?
Jonathan, nothing yet. But folks, if you do have any questions for Jonathan about the map or anything that we've talked about thus far, feel free to type it into the Q&A while we're waiting for a few of those. I'll just reshare a couple of slides from the beginning. Excuse me. So the timeline for the City Center Catchment Review, again, it's on our website, but we all public feedback until October 27th. So please take the opportunity to engage in whichever way works best for your family. As well, different ways that you can give feedback. So this is the Brighhouse specific evening. So we're really zooming in on those different scenarios and how they would impact the different pieces of the Brighhouse catchment. But we were really encouraging folks to please complete the online survey that's available on the website. The QR code on the screen, if you're using a mobile device or have a mobile device handy, will also take you there. You're very welcome to fill out more than one. You might have some thoughts tonight that you want to share with us after attending this presentation, and then maybe in a couple of weeks, you'll look at the maps again and have some more ideas that you want to give some feedback on. Please take the opportunity to engage with us in that way. As well, if you'd like to come out and talk to us in person, we will be doing an open house available to anyone in the school district next Tuesday night at McNeil Secondary. So all the information's on our website. It starts at 6:30 p.m. In the evening, and you're very welcome to come out and see some of the maps. We'll have some larger format maps, so you could see them in person and talk to us and give us your feedback there as well, either through the electronic survey or on a piece of paper, which would be great. Okay, so while I was chatting there, a few questions popped in. So a couple of questions about how the changes would be implemented, or how the maps scenarios will be decided and implemented. So at this point, we're in the public engagement phase, which is we're coming to you with two different scenarios that have been identified by our planning department as viable options for the city center pressures. So we are asking for your feedback about what you think about those maps, any questions you have about implementation or how this would work. What are you thinking about? We would like to hear that through the online survey. So the online survey has a lot of open text box that we'd be really appreciative of hearing your feedback and your questions. All of the information submitted there will be considered by the board in making their decision as to which scenario makes the most sense to move forward with. There's a few questions about, Jonathan, I don't know if you want to answer this, just noting that the city center enrollment pressures are forecasted to continue. Is there anything you could expand on that between the two scenarios or just moving forward?
Yeah, I can certainly speak to that. Our facilities planning group and our capital planning team is always looking at our trying to implement our long range facilities plan, which was approved by the board earlier this year. And part of that plan is to look at potential areas to expand either the existing sites at Alden Crescent or potentially other school sites to deal with the enrollment pressures. However, we are always working with our partners in the ministry to ensure that we meet our enrollment projections and meet our growth needs as in future planning areas when we come to new projects.
That's great. Thanks, Jonathan. I'm just going through. I think we've addressed most of the general questions. There's a few questions just about the area surrounding Audlin, and just in terms of maybe looking at the renovations that are taking place, or how will the school be set up to welcome students. And so I think there's lots of work going on by planning to look at the building permits and different renovation pieces, as well as ensuring the safety of students on school grounds and in the neighborhood there. So I don't know if you have anything to add to that, Jonathan.
Nothing in great detail, other than we are certainly aware of our responsibilities to ensure that this school is not only welcoming but safe for our students to attend.
Awesome, thank you. Just looking to see if there's any new ones. Okay. Once again, folks, really appreciate you taking the time to come this evening. If you, again, please complete the online survey and please submit your questions and comments through there. If you have additional questions or concerns, please feel free to come to our open house next Tuesday at McNeil if you'd like to come talk to us in person. That would be a great place to start. The recording will be sent out tomorrow as well. Like we mentioned at the beginning, this session's been recording and this will be sent to all Brighhouse families. So please feel free to share it with a friend or neighbor that maybe wasn't able to attend this evening. Cindy, anything to add as we close this evening? Did I miss anything in the chat?
Nope.
Okay. Excellent. Well, thank you so much, everyone. I hope we've done our best to address the majority of the questions that we can. So please use the district website, submit your questions, etc., through the online survey. Come to see us at the open house next week if you'd like. And the final board will consider all feedback, and board's decision is targeted for November. So please tell us what you think of the different scenarios presented, questions you have, things you'd like us to consider and the board to consider as they make their decisions. But we really appreciate you coming out this evening, and have a wonderful evening. Thank you for being here. Take good care.